You know, there's a level of discipline out there that actually makes people look at you with fear. It's this kind of consistency that's so absolute, it almost feels inhuman. Well, today we're going to break down the ancient system that can actually create it. No, I mean, seriously, just think about that for a second. What if you could build a habit that you would never break again? Imagine setting a goal, starting some new practice, and just never stopping. Not because you have some superhuman willpower, but because you're using a system that's literally designed to be unbreakable. So, what is this thing? Well, it's called Gyoji. It's this amazing concept that comes from Zen monks, people who've kept practices going for centuries. The whole idea boils down to continuous practice without gaps. Basically, it's the practice that fuels itself. You can almost think of it like a self-sustaining engine for consistency. All right, so to really get how this works, we first have to look at why we fail so often, right? And to do that, we're going to start with a story that, well, it might just sound a little too familiar. So let's meet Raphael. Now, this is a super smart guy, a successful programmer, but he had this one nagging problem. He couldn't stick to any habit for more than 2 weeks. The gym, meditation, reading, you name it, nothing lasted. He was just completely stuck in this frustrating loop. And his cycle of failure? I mean, look at this. It was so predictable, it's almost funny. It always kicked off with this huge burst of motivation on Monday, right? But then, Wednesday hits. That's when the little voice in his head starts negotiating. By Friday, forget about it. Complete surrender. And then Sunday was all about, okay, I'll definitely start again next week. Man, does that sound familiar or what? So Raphael, he had tried everything. I'm talking apps, rewards, accountability partners, the whole 9 yards. But nothing, and I mean nothing, worked because he was missing the absolute foundational principle of the Gyoji system. So let's dive in and see how this thing is actually built, starting with the most important first step. Okay, and this right here, this is the key. Your brain basically sorts every single commitment you make into one of 2 boxes. On one side, you've got reversible. If a commitment lands in this box, your brain will constantly look for a way out. It'll negotiate, it'll find loopholes. But if it lands in the irreversible box, something amazing happens. The negotiation just stops. Poof. The decision is made, it's final, and the only path forward is action. And there is actually some really cool science behind why this mental shift is so powerful. See, when you make a behavior public, your deep, primitive brain, the lizard brain, if you will, it kicks into gear. Think about it. For our ancestors, getting kicked out of the tribe for not pulling your weight, that was a death sentence. It was a survival threat. And believe it or not, that ancient wiring is still in all of us. The Gyoji system just knows how to flip that switch. So this is exactly what Raphael did. He went all in. He made an irreversible vow. He didn't just whisper it to himself. No, he declared it to the entire world. He wrote down his goal, meditate 20 minutes every day at 5 a.m. for 90 days. He signed the paper, and then he blasted it out on social media. He told his girlfriend, his friends, his coworkers, everyone. All of a sudden, he made giving up way, way more painful than just getting up and doing the work. But look, making that big public vow, that's just step 1. It's powerful, for sure, but that external pressure won't carry you all the way. You still have to wake up every single morning and win that internal war with yourself. And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, building a structure that pretty much eliminates the fight before it even starts. So what's the blueprint for this structure? It's surprisingly simple, actually. It's all about elimination. You just systematically remove the 2 biggest things your brain loves to negotiate about. Number 1, when you're going to do it, and number 2, what exactly you're going to do. So for Raphael, that meant 5 a.m. And let's be clear, he didn't pick 5 a.m. because he's some super motivated morning person. Nope, he picked it because it was the most non-negotiable time of day. At 5 in the morning, the world is quiet, there are no messages pinging, no emails flooding in, 0 distractions. There are just no excuses. The point wasn't to find the perfect time, it was to eliminate every other possibility. Okay, now this next part is going to sound a little weird, a little counterintuitive. We're always told that variety is the spice of life, right? That it keeps things interesting. Well, in the Gyoji system, variety is poison. It's where consistency goes to die. Because every tiny little choice, should I do this exercise or that one? Or which book should I read today? Each one is a little crack that lets your old, lazy habits seep back in. Making the practice identical every single time just starves that part of your brain that loves to negotiate. And there's a real neurological reason for all this mind-numbing repetition. So, research from places like MIT suggests that after about 66 days of doing the exact same thing, a part of your brain called the basal ganglia just takes over. The action literally becomes automatic. It's like you're not even using willpower anymore to decide to do it. Your body just does it. It's on autopilot. Okay, so you've got your irreversible vow. You've got your non-negotiable practice. Everything is going great. You feel unstoppable. And then, bam, life happens. You get sick, your car breaks down, you have a last-minute trip. This right here, this is the moment where almost everyone's consistency shatters. And it's because of this mental trap that we all fall into. You know the one. That little voice that says, well, if I can't do my full 20-minute meditation, I might as well just do nothing. That all or nothing lie has killed more good intentions than laziness ever could. Because it creates gaps in your practice. And those gaps, they're deadly. That's the opening your old inconsistent self has been waiting for. The system has this really beautiful metaphor for this. I want you to think of your practice like a river, okay? Now, during a drought, that river might shrink down to just a tiny little trickle, but it never, ever stops flowing. The second it stops completely, well, it's not a river anymore, is it? It's just a dry bed. And your practice is the same. It needs continuity, not perfection. So how do you keep that river flowing even during a drought? This is the secret weapon. You create pre-solutions. You literally sit down and anticipate the future chaos. You decide your response before it ever hits. If I have to travel unexpectedly, I will do push-ups in the airport bathroom. If I feel sick, I will do just 1 minute of meditation. It is simple if-then plan. No thinking, no debating in the moment. You've already made the decision when you were strong, so you don't have to make one when you're weak. So, you make it through the 90 days. You've held to your irreversible vow, you've executed your non-negotiable practice, you've used your pre-solutions to survive the chaos. What happens then? What's the result? Well, I can tell you, it's something so much deeper than just having a new habit. And this is the real endgame, the ultimate transformation. This whole system, it isn't really about giving you a new habit. It's about forging a completely new identity. Raphael stopped being the guy who tries to meditate. He just became a meditator. It's who he is. The action and his sense of self became one and the same. And trust me, people around you will start to notice. It's kind of funny, actually. When Raphael's friends told him, dude, your consistency is scary, that's when he knew he'd really made it. When your discipline starts to make other people feel a little uncomfortable, that's a pretty good sign you're operating on a whole different level. And this is such a crucial thing to remember. Because yeah, they might call you obsessive, they might think you're crazy, but you have to understand, a lot of the time, your progress is just a giant mirror reflecting their own inaction. They kind of need you to slow down because it makes them feel better about standing still. But you're not doing this for them, are you? Because in the end, this system isn't some productivity hack you find on a blog. It's a genuine process of transformation. It's about the death of your inconsistent self. You know, the one that negotiates, that makes excuses, that always promises tomorrow? It's about letting that person die so that a new, truly unbreakable version of you can be born. And really, that's what this all boils down to. It's not about learning a new skill. It's about becoming a new person. So I'm just going to leave you with the same powerful question this whole idea poses. Are you ready for the death of your inconsistent self?